Welcome to the RFSQ Bushfire Heavy Attack video, a RFBAQ initiative and design that was kindly supported by RFSQ and the Queensland Fire Department in procurement, production and funding. A truck that's made in Queensland for Queensland brigades.
Start with the front of the vehicle. Like with the Fusion Cruiser, you're going to see in the centre of the bull bar we've got that thermal imaging camera. And that's a thermal imaging camera that identifies people and animals up to it's set for about 200 to 300 metres. Once the FLIR identifies a person or animal, it identifies it with a white box, and that allows for quicker identification. Underneath that you'll see that we have batter sprays as well. That can be operated in the cab, one side, the other side or both sides at the same time. Other things that our vehicles didn't have, and this is the next evolution, is there is a spray over each one of the wheels. So when you're doing aggressive firefighting, when you're chasing that running grass fire down, that's going to help keep your tyres and your wheel arches cool as well. So one of the other crew safety features we have on this vehicle is these have been replaced with metal. This is metal, in here is metal, and these are metal as well. Now, we've all had them melt on us in the past, and one of our concerns is that if you do have a particularly bad burnover, a plastic door handle may melt and stop you getting out of the vehicle. We have a monitor on the front. Now, inside the vehicle you can change the flow rate on the monitor, and you can also change the direction with a joystick as well. This vehicle is not about pumping 500 or 600 litres of water a minute. It's a bushfire fighting vehicle. So we're trying to reduce the flow on the vehicle. It's got a 2-cylinder Isuzu diesel, and that's an Isuzu on an Isuzu, so when you get the vehicle serviced, it's like a one-stop shop. And we have a GARM 125 pump. On the top of the vehicle, you'll see the compressed air foam system. So that is very similar again to the Fusion Cruiser. It's a standalone system, so you don't have to use the pump on the rear of the vehicle to have it running. It's initiated by inside the cab. You push a button, and almost instantaneously, a nice, thick, dry CAFS covers the outside of the vehicle. So trying to make that safe and survivable space for volunteer firefighters. Behind the cab you have crew deck. Okay, behind that again, it is very much the look and feel of a medium attack. Other things you'll notice there that we've brought forward from previous designs on the RFBAQ Mercedes-Benz is that we have a position to wash your hands. Next to that you've got your side fill point, and then you've got your 40 litres worth of drip torch fuel. Now, that has been enormously popular on other vehicles we've produced previously. It stops you having to take a jerry can off the truck, so there's the weight, you're opening it on a hot day, it's under pressure, you're getting drip torch fuel on your gloves, it's all just not great. So with this, it's quite simple, and you would have seen it on the previous vehicles. Just bring your drip torch down, open up your drip torch container, put that in, and you fill it up. It just clips back up here, and it also has a gauge on the panel at the back to tell you how much drip torch fuel you have left. Next to that is your dead hose reel. So the rear of the vehicle, the pump panel is very easy to operate without wearing glasses, and very easy to operate with your gloves on. We've kept it as simple as possible. So this may not be your everyday vehicle because you've come to operate on it at deployment. So in a very, very short amount of time, you are able to, just by looking at this, turn it on, get water to come in and water to go out. And we've kept all the pipe work exposed, so it's very much point and shoot. At the top of the vehicle we have a notice board that can program from inside the cab. It comes with a number of different messages on there, and you can input more messages. Another positive thing we've put on this vehicle is a water level indicator on either side, so when you're down the paddock fighting the fire, you can just turn around and see how much water you've got left. Driver's side of the vehicle, you've got your witches hats at the rear. You've got your 3 foam drums. Now, those foam drums are also hooked up to your compressed air foam system, which we'll go over in a minute for crew safety. And then again, the look and feel is very much like a jacked up medium attack. Crew deck. Accessing the crew deck, 3 points of contact. Open the door with your knee, it's on a magnet. Automatic close. Crew deck, what we have up here is we have 2 Draeger escape hoods. Above that you have your crew deck camera. Okay, so the operator of the vehicle can see what's going on the crew deck all the time. You have a talk box between the cab and the crew deck here. Here on the crew deck you've got 2 25mm outlets. Turn your pump on like that. You've got your water level indicator as well. Start. Okay, so the pump started. We can increase revs. Now the marvel with this for me is I did all of that without my glasses on, so I'm very pleased with that design. You can also turn your work lights on as well. Now when you want to turn the vehicle off, just drop your revs down, turn your pump off, turn the switches off as well. Crew safety up here, so not only do you have your escape hoods, but you have very simple to use. Okay, so to operate, once you've opened it up, grab your hand, pull it down, and you'll also see it has side curtains as well here that go all the way to the floor. Now that is a really tight fit, and when you get hands on this vehicle you'll be able to feel the thickness of that triple layer curtain. Thank you very much, Thermogard. That is a fantastic piece of work, and something to hopefully keep our volunteers safe on the fire ground should you get caught in a burnover. Okay, so on a fire ground, the decision by the officer in charge, the first officer, may be made that we're going to chase the fire down. So you may have your 2 firefighters here on the crew deck, and you have your crew leader in the front of the vehicle who is operating the monitor on the front of the vehicle, and you also can choose your left or right hand side batter spray from whichever side you're going to fight the fire on, and you also have your tyre sprays as well. So that is a decision. You don't use it at every fire, just like not at every fire. You don't use a chainsaw at every fire, and you don't use foam at every fire. This is a facility that can be used when it's specifically needed for the best outcome. Twin cab vehicle. In the back we have an air conditioning unit, so it's got air conditioning in the front and air conditioning in the rear. It's got 2 seats. We've taken the other seat points out in between because for every seat belt you need to now make an allocation of 114 kilos for each firefighter, 114 kilos. And that's all extra water you can't carry. So what we've incorporated between the seats is a frame that it fits 4 green kit bags. Everyone's got Royal Fire Brigade kit bag, so you know exactly what we're talking about. When you go on deployment or when you go away to fight a fire for an extended period of time and you take your kit bag, they won't be rolling around in the back of the truck, they won't be on the crew deck, they won't be getting dusty or wet or muddy or anything like that. So at the end of the day you're going to have clean kit, and that's very important. So these are the livability things we're building in here. Inside the cab we have those 4 Draeger escape hoods, and on the back panel there we also have the Sentinel 300. In the back as well you've got your bags that will carry 4 of your helmets, and on either side of the seat in the back is a little plug-in torch that's charging all the time, And so when you do get out of the vehicle, it's easily accessible, fully charged torch all the time, which is an absolutely fantastic idea. Okay, so you're the operator of the vehicle. It's an automatic, which also explains why it's so high, to fit the Allison gearbox in. Now, you've got your radios. Here is where your cameras are, and you can see that there is a camera that shows you the crew deck. Above that there is the camera that shows you your pump set, and then there are 2 cameras at the rear of the vehicle, so that way as a driver you have awareness of what's going on in your environment. Moving over to the center console, you have a public address system. You have your control for your message board on the rear. You are able to engage your batter spray, near side, left side, or the tyre spray individually, all at the same time. It's up to you as the operator. And to turn them off, you can just flip them down or just use the missile switch, and that turns them off as well. You've got your monitor, so when you want to operate your monitor, you turn your pump on or activate your pump. It's very quiet in here, but you can feel the pump when you start it. Add some revs, and that's how you turn your monitor on there. When you've finished trialing or doing your training with your compressed air foam system, you just hold this button here down, and what that does is it runs water through the system and to flush it out. So that's to stop long-term corrosion. You can do that separately from having your cabin deluge on, so you don't need to operate them both at the same time. You'll see underneath the cameras, you will see that you have your talk box to the rear, and there's a push to talk button as well. So you have your primary lights, you have your secondary lights, you have the scene lights on the side of your light bar. It also has a standard emergency warning signal as well.
Prepare to evacuate. Prepare to evacuate. Prepare to evacuate. Evacuate now. Evacuate now. Evacuate now.
Now, what that lets you do is that's part of your PA system. So, cyclone cleanup, giving community warnings, doing evacuations, Public Safety Preservation Act at the direction of the police. And another one that we have on this vehicle is red, red, red. Okay, so this is something that's new from Code 3, and in Victoria, Fire Rescue Victoria trialling it on one of their pumpers. And the purpose they're trialling it for is as a visual alarm for firefighters who are at a structure fire inside a building. If the pump operator or the officer deems that the building is now becoming unsafe, it's another way of recalling them back to the vehicle. The Country Fire Service in South Australia is incorporating it as part of their Burnover procedure. So if you're down the paddock fighting the fire and you turn around to your vehicle and you see that the light bar has gone to this angry red, it's saying come back to me. The other thing that we've had done on this vehicle is on previous vehicles we were able to plug the handset for the siren into your phone, and so that way if you wanted to push out a consistent community safety message, you could text it to the first officer or the crew leader, who could then plug their phone in, and then it would play that consistent message out the siren. the difficulty we came up with then was sirens are very, very good at going nor, but they're not particularly good at replicating voice. So what we've had done as an example of what you can do with a siren is that we have had a song built in that you can play through the siren to show the quality that you can now get out of the front of a vehicle. Alrighty, so we've done the driver's side. Now here we are in the crew leader side. What can you do here? So we've got a Bushfire mapping tablet, and here's your position where you're going to be running the pumps. Okay, so we've just started the pump. You can turn on your batter spray, left side, right side, tyre sprays, plenty of water's coming out of the vehicle at the moment. Easy to turn them off. Okay, so you also have a monitor here as well. Alrighty. So it's just moving from its resting position. Give it some revs. And we're in business. The toggle on the top. Now monitors are very, very heavy, and they also go through a lot of water. So we have gone a smaller monitor because this is a bushfire fighting vehicle, and we are trying to get the maximum impact we can with the minimum use of water. Now when you're finished with that, you just push the park button and the monitor will return itself to its resting position. And once it gets back down there, we just close the valve. Okay, so to turn the pump off, just like in the rear, you leave it switched on, you hit the stop button, and your pump is off. Okay, next to that is your CAFs. Easy to operate, lift it up, push a button. The first bit that came through was the water, and that was because we flushed the system from the last time we operated it, and now you're starting to get that nice CAFs come through. We don't have the pump at the rear of the vehicle operating at all. This is a standalone system. So you've got your compressed air foam system on the outside, you've got your fire curtains here on the inside, so now we have an air gap in between, which is another layer of protection. You've got your 4 fire blankets inside the cab. You've got your Sentinel 300 operating. You've got your 2 air conditioners operating. You've got your angry red on top of your roof saying I'm in distress. And we also have 4 of these Drager escape hoods in the cab as well. So what we're doing here is we're creating a layered defence. And this is giving us a very, very survivable space for 5 minutes. Then at the end of that 5 minutes, this escape hood and your fire blankets are going to help you when you get out of the vehicle, because your vehicle is now on fire, and the amount of plastics and rubber that can burn in a vehicle, it's a toxic wonderland. Now we've also reduced that a little bit by
putting on metal outsides to the vehicle as well. It's slightly going to reduce the toxicity that's there. Okay, so your compressed air foam system, you see how well it covers the whole cab. To turn it off, just push the button again, okay, and then we just go through that flush. Now it takes a little while for the water to come through. You'll see it's kicking out the foam, and then you'll see, you know, it predominantly start being water once the flush goes through. So this is also a very, very important part because of your cleaning and training and maintenance regime, because you know the foam is, you know, quite corrosive, and it's not good to have it sitting in the nooks and crannies of your truck. Once you've done that, after training, then get out with your hose and give the vehicle a really good hose down. The vehicle also has a handheld thermal imaging camera in as well. You're all very familiar with this. The RFBAQ and the fire service gave away 300 of these to brigades a couple of years ago, and they've been very, very popular and in service since. This vehicle isn't designed for every brigade. One size does not fit all. This is a bushfire fighting vehicle, fighting running grass fires. The RFBAQ and the fire service a number of years ago designed the town heavy, and the RFBAQ, through all those fantastic donations, the last big fire season we had, was able to purchase 2 of them, one for Birdsville and one for Burketown. Now those trucks are 6-seaters, they carry 2,800 litres of water, they have a very large pump system on them, they have a very large CAF system on it, they carry a road crash rescue down one side and firefighting on the other. So that's what other states would call a village pumper. We have that in our fleet mix. What we didn't have was a vehicle like this. So while the vehicle may not be suitable for every brigade in the state, the crew safety aspects are. There's things on this vehicle that make it the safest cab chassis of this size that's been produced so far for bush firefighting. And these are things that can be carried forward on all vehicles in the future. And that's really what we want you to focus on. So if you are in a brigade that has a lot of hills, or in a town, things like that, then please focus on the crew safety aspects of it. So in the links to the video are also on our website. You can click on the manual, and the manual for this goes into the detail of everything on the vehicle. So please go through that. And also, if you could use that in conjunction with the feedback forms, that'd be absolutely fantastic.